in terms of positive psychology, really, the only assessment I use regularly is the VIA.
Yeah.
And that's because, A, I'm used to it, B, I like that it's free, and I like Neil Mayerson, who developed it, and obviously Chris and Morty's work. And I think it's really helpful for helping people develop a new language for themselves and other people. But typically in the way that I work, I don't use a lot of other assessments. I'm just experimenting with that now.
Right.
I'm going to do a full battery on someone.
Right.
Which reminds me, I have to call them. Actually, it's the woman that I was describing to you. We're ending up the coaching engagement, the one who was like the bright-eyedness went down 40%, and we're sort of ending because she had a bunch of assessments before the coaching began, so we're going to end with a whole bunch to see, just what shifting she's made.
Yeah.
But usually it's just the VIA. I like to know what somebody's MBTI is. And that's basically it for me, because most of the assessing I do just through my own lens of my own experience.
Yeah.
I don't really believe like, here's your leadership questionnaire. I'll just ask someone, what's your leadership vision?
Yeah.
What leadership experiences have been the most satisfying to you? What have been the most challenging for you? Who's the person you look to for leadership? And get a sense that way.
Yeah.
There is Bruce Avolio's Authentic Leadership Questionnaire, which is a good one. I haven't used it, and I might.
Right.
I might do that one.
And when you use the VIA, how do you do that?
It just depends. Sometimes I'll do it near the beginning just to know the person better. Other times I'll do it where it becomes clear. For example, one leader that I'm working with at another multinational, she's just people really see her as very critical and a naysayer.
Yeah.
I thought, no, what this woman has is prudence. And in the VIA, prudence is prudentia, which means long-sighted, with the capacity to align your actions with your long-term vision. And I thought it would be very helpful for her to start developing a different language for herself, rather than I'm so pessimistic, to say I have really strong capacities with prudence and caution and awareness of long-term strategic vision.
Yeah. So
she took the VIA, and of course her top two strengths were kind of open-mindedness and prudence. And so we were able to work with them and also help her look at how these strengths can be overused.
Yeah.
So my own feeling is, I forget where the data is from, but that, most people sort of get by on 3 different strengths, categories of strength. And at the level of leadership where these people are at, which is much higher level of leadership than I'm at, these people are real leaders, that you really need to have like 5 strengths you can pull on, because you have such a wide diversity of challenges. So with her, we used it to get a sense of what strengths she had and what strengths to work on. And she's the one who I asked this morning if she'd done her 3 good things.
Right.
And she just said, my brain is just a lot of Velcro. Everything negative, it just sticks.
Right.
So well. And so we're working with her. How can she reverse the focus? How can she see good things about what she's done and good things about what other people have done?
Right. And so would you do, like, give her the assessment to do at home and then bring the results, or what do you do? Yeah.
She would just do the VIA between appointments and then send me the all 24. And then we just sort of talked it through, which of these felt really right to her, to share stories about the different strengths that she has. I do the strengths limbo, how low can you go, which is like, if you really go through, when did the strengths stop feeling like there's something you do a lot. Because some people use 2 or 3. I've had other people who use, 12 to 14.
Yeah.
That really feel like they use these a lot. So to kind of explore that and begin, in her case, to start seeing strengths with other people.
Right.
To start doing strength spotting, because she's just naturally so negative. I mean, she's just really good at it.
Yeah.
And with her job, it's really important that she's good at it, because she's doing long-term strategy for investments for hundreds of millions of dollars. So she needs to look ahead and see what is going to go wrong, anticipate that, and switch investments on the basis of that. So she desperately needs that skill.
Yeah.
So with her, what we say is, keep that skill with facts, but when you turn to people, you need to start doubting yourself, because you bring that to your assessment with people. You think they don't appreciate you. You think that, you don't see the positive in them. In your long-term strategic investment plans, this is really working, and you're 100% right. And with people, you're about 60% right.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of use it, and in general, the way I do a lot of confronting through the strengths.
Say something more about that.
So back to the leadership development work I do, what people typically do is they arrive for this leadership development program. We do some intensive coaching before they do their 4 days of the program, and then we follow up. And what happens to them before they start the program is they get what I think of as a 360 from hell.
Right.
It's a benchmarking 360 where your strengths are really described very, very powerfully, and your weaknesses are described just as powerfully. And so recently, one person I worked with, again, best in North America at her brand of what she does. This person's a head of legal teams. Best at this, best at that, tireless worker, relentless, gets everything done, everyone can count on her, building the business, everything's great. But her team feels that she is mean, demeaning, rude, disempowering, and just awful to work with. So I meet this woman thinking, what is she going to be like? You're like, no, you work with her, And so I met this woman who is quite intimidating at first, very well put together. And then as you talk to her, her warmth just shines through in terms of the way she's talking about her family, the way she's talking about her charity work, and even in the way that she's relating to me. I can see there's a lot of strengths here in the capacity to love and be loved. Really clear. Now, she did not take the VIA, but I just will, bet you that capacity to love and be loved is in her top 3. So we're talking. I see the time running out. We see the 360 right there, that we have to address these issues, and she's trying to talk a lot so that we don't ever have to get to these issues. So what I do is what I call my stake in the ground statement, where I will just take a strength as a stake in the ground and then challenge the weakness in the light of the strength. So with her, I said, I'll call her Jane. So Jane, it's so clear to me from talking with you and hearing how you operate that you have this incredible capacity to connect to people. I feel your warmth. I feel like I like hanging out with you. I like talking with you. So what in God's name are you doing so that your people are experiencing you as mean, rude, and demeaning? Because this clearly does not represent the core of who you are. What could be happening? So when you challenge someone like that, it's very different than if she came and sat down and said, what's going on here where your people think you're mean and rude and demeaning?
Yeah.
What's that about? Okay, so you can imagine. So she's like, I know. She goes, this was like just the horrible, you know, to see this. And so a lot of warmth. I'm like, okay, but what are you doing? And she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, well, imagine you did know what you were doing. What would you be doing?
Yeah.
And then she would say, well, you know, I can kind of see why they call me rude. And I'm like, why? And she said, well, you know, because I'm in a meeting and I see someone outside and I'll yell. And I'm like, you'll what? She goes, I'll yell. I'll tell them what to do. I said, oh, okay. So what do you think that's like? And so, but kind of playfully and warmly, we'll talk through, you know, and with her, as has happened with a number of other people, the feedback she's always gotten is, you know, be nicer to your people.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out when you do it from this perspective, the issue wasn't about niceness to her people at all. The issue was stress. Right. And that under stress, she snaps.
Right, right.
So the issue isn't be nice to people. The issue is let's figure out what's going on with your stress. How can we help you manage your stress? How can we have a different vision of what you need to do and then see what happens with your people?
Yeah.
And, you know, and then some general suggestions. And with her, actually, was some very specific ideas. For example, she's trying to get someone out of her room, so she'll yell at someone else to do something. And then she goes, and I know they think it's rude. They tell me that I think it's rude, but I can't stop myself because I'm too busy. So I said, gee, you know, actually, if you left and went to talk to your assistant, that would also give you a chance to break the meeting you're in. She's like, oh, that's so obvious. I never thought of it. You know, so, you know, for that one, that was a direct suggestion. And with her, I had another coaching session with her yesterday where she was talking about one person who is always calling her and getting her wound up. And she needed to get a more positive vision. So she just saw this person is just bothering me. You know, she's coming to me all the time. She's asking. She doesn't hear anything. And you could hear, like, how she must sound to this person. So then we talked about, well, one thing to notice is this person is coming to you because she must look up to you or she wouldn't be asking you for so much help. She's like, oh, I never thought of that. You know, and then it's like, and then it's trying to get her into a more mentor headset, like this person is bothering you. And she goes, but, you know, she yells at me in front of people. So then we sort of talked about that a little bit, and it was clearly, I said, well, gee, it sounds like you, she's having some stress problems. You know, and then we could work with that. And then we also worked on a vision of what is her vision of leadership? What would her ideal be in how she managed with this person? And her ideal would be that she wouldn't catch this person's stress.
Yeah.
So we worked on how and what could she do to help herself not have the contagious response with this person arise with stress, and then how can she not catch it?
Right.
So that would be an example of using the VIA as a way to help challenge people.